Have you ever wondered what happens when the human brain completely shuts down and yet consciousness continues? Today, we're diving into one of the most scientifically documented and spiritually profound near-death experiences ever recorded.
Let's travel back to 2008 to a hospital room in Lynchburg, Virginia, where a neurosurgeon named Dr. Eben Alexander fell into a coma that would change everything we know about life, death, and consciousness.
Dr. Alexander wasn't just any patient. He was a Harvard-trained neurosurgeon.
A man who had spent his entire career studying the human brain.
Let's go see the story of Dr. Alexander together.
Dr. Eben Alexander wasn't just any patient. He was a Harvard-trained neurosurgeon, a man who had spent his entire career studying the human brain. Raised by a neurosurgeon father and deeply rooted in science, Eben believed consciousness was entirely a product of brain activity. He didn't believe in the soul or in any kind of afterlife. But on the morning of November 10th, 2008, everything he thought he knew about the brain and about reality itself was about to collapse. He woke up with an intense headache, unlike anything he had ever experienced before. Within hours, his body went into convulsions. His wife, Holly, called for help as he quickly lost consciousness. He was rushed to Lynchburg General Hospital, where doctors diagnosed him with a rare and deadly form of bacterial meningoencephalus caused by E. coli bacteria attacking his brain. By all scientific standards, his brain should have been incapable of producing any kind of conscious experience. According to everything he had ever learned, believed, and taught, his mind should have been a complete blank. Within hours, Dr. Alexander slipped into a deep coma. Doctors tried multiple antibiotics, but his condition continued to worsen. By day 7, medical reports describe his chances of survival as virtually non-existent. And yet, during those 7 days of apparent brain death, Eben Alexander was conscious. He described the beginning of his experience as a dark, murky realm, without memory, identity, or sense of self. He called it the earthworm's eye view, a place of primordial confusion. He couldn't see, speak, or think in the human sense. It was an existence made only of sensation, muddy, rhythmic, pulsing. Then, from the distance, a pure white light began to spin toward him, accompanied by the sound of a melodic chant, a tone of indescribable beauty. As the light expanded, it pulled him upward, tearing him away from the darkness. He suddenly found himself soaring above, through a vivid, infinite landscape of lush fields, waterfalls, and shimmering crystal pools. Colors were beyond earthly description. Every plant, every beam of light seemed alive, filled with intelligence and love. He described the scene as the Gateway Valley. Beside him rode a young woman with golden hair, dressed in simple flowing garments, sitting on a butterfly wing. She didn't speak in words, but her presence filled him with warmth and peace. Through pure thought, or what he called nonverbal communication, she delivered a message he would never forget. You are deeply loved and cherished forever. You have nothing to fear. There is nothing you can do wrong. Her smile radiated unconditional love, a kind of acceptance he said he had never known on earth. Looking around, he saw thousands of shimmering orbs of light dancing through the sky. They were souls, beings of pure energy, and as they moved, they created a celestial symphony, a music that was also knowledge, harmony, and joy. The journey continued upward, and the vibrant valley began to dissolve into an infinite, brilliant light. He had arrived at what he called the core. This wasn't just light. It was consciousness itself. An infinite, loving, and all-knowing presence that was beyond form, beyond gender. He felt it as a divine being, the source of all creation, and the sound that filled this space was a deep, resonant hum he called Om. In this realm, time didn't exist. Past, present, and future were one. Every question he had ever pondered about science, the universe, and God was answered instantly. Not with words, but with direct, experiential knowing. The most profound realization struck home with the force of ultimate truth. Consciousness is not created by the brain. The brain is merely a filter, a receiver for a consciousness that is fundamental to the universe. But his journey wasn't over. The transcendent peace was interrupted by images of his family on earth, his wife, his son, their faces filled with love and worry, calling him back. A gentle but firm message echoed through the light. Your work isn't done yet. He was pulled back, gently guided downward through the gateway valley, through the spinning light, and back into the dark, primordial realm. And then he opened his eyes. It was the 7th day of his coma. The nurses in the ICU were stunned. His doctors were speechless. A man whose brain had been all but destroyed by infection was not only awake, but completely lucid, his mind intact. In the weeks that followed, he frantically wrote down everything he could remember, filling over 20,000 words with details of a world that science said couldn't possibly exist. When he reviewed his own medical charts, the conclusion was inescapable. His brain had been completely offline. It was incapable of producing a dream, a hallucination, or any conscious experience. And yet, his mind had traveled to the very heart of the cosmos. The scientific community was, and still is, divided. Some tried to explain it away as a brainstem experience or a reboot hallucination. But none of these theories could account for the complex, structured, and coherent nature of his journey, nor his perfect recall of it afterward. Dr. Alexander himself admitted, "If someone had told me this story before it happened to me, I would have thought they were delusional." But as a scientist, he couldn't ignore the data of his own experience. He began to explore quantum physics and consciousness theories, collaborating with researchers dedicated to studying life beyond the brain. The experience transformed him. The man of science became a man of spirit. He no longer saw life as a random accident of biology, but as a meaningful journey in a much larger spiritual reality. The message he brought back is simple and profound, the same one he received in that higher realm. We are loved. We are eternal. And we are here to learn and grow together. Dr. Alexander's story challenges the very foundation of what we think we know. If consciousness can exist when the brain is silent, what does that mean for life, for death, and for the nature of reality itself? Could it be that death is not an ending, but a transition? A doorway to a reality far grander than we can imagine? What do you think? Is the brain the source of consciousness, or is it just a receiver? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're fascinated by true stories that explore the boundaries between science and the afterlife, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Join our community as we continue to explore life's greatest mysteries. Thanks for watching.